Okay, let's start right here. This is the layout that needs to be in a building, 42 foot long by 9 foot wide. I'm going to say you're going to want your building 20 foot wide by 48 foot long. Should have some sort of access here for if you ever have to pull the augers out of the roasters. We're going to roll this around so you see what's going on. Right here, you have your control panel, which is part of the system. Here we have the auger to feed the roasters. It fills one, floods over into the other, a valve in each of these pipes so that if you want to run one roaster, you can shut the valve and just run one roaster. The roasters dump into steeping / cooling hoppers. So they each have their own little hopper where the beans steep in and then cool in before grinding. We have the steam vent here, which pulls steam off. The steam comes out of the roaster, comes up, and gets sucked into a hole in the pipe and blows it outside. This needs to be installed so that any condensation that forms inside this pipe runs out and outside. That way any water goes outside. The beans go into the steeping / cooling hoppers until they reach a certain fullness, and then the cooling fan starts. Cooling fan runs for about 15 minutes to cool the beans down, and then the grinder starts, and the auger starts, and it empties the hopper, and it alternates which hoppers. The automation controls all of the motors in this system. This hammer mill is on a VFD. These controls have a VFD in to run this hammer mill. There's a setting on the control screen for how fast you want to run it, because if you want to halve or quarter your beans, the hammer mill, you want to slow that down to about 900 RPMs and run a 5/16 to a 1/4 inch screen. And to get the grind you want, here we have a blower, sucks it out of this hammer mill, blows it into your commodity bay or hopper bin, whatever you're using. This should be in a building with a minimum of an 8 foot high eave. I would recommend 10 foot high, 12 foot high would fit in an 8 foot high minimum if you have an existing building. I'm just going to change the view here. It might be easier to see how everything is. There's like a pipe that goes through the bottom of them hoppers for your cooling. The bottom of the pipe is open. And hopefully this makes sense. On this steam vent, we have our holes on the back side here, not on the bottom. That way no moisture can drip out. We have them on the side. That's why we don't have it directly above, so the steam comes up alongside and sucks into the pipe. Everything that is seen in this drawing is controlled by the automation panel. So with this system, you're getting more than just a roaster, you're getting a complete automation system. So I hope this shows you what is required. There needs to be a valve in each of these pipes. That way you can shut one off and run just one roaster. Same as on the bottom of these hoppers, there needs to be a valve on each. That way if you have beans in it and you need to work on the auger, you can close the valve and work on the auger. This steam vent needs to be installed so that any water in the pipe drains outside, so we don't have any water inside the building to keep things clean. This blower can either be outside or can come out the other side of here. Configuration can be changed. The hammer mill, the hoppers, the roasters, this configuration, and the steam vent kinda needs to be the same. Like we can move this panel to the other side. We can put the steam vent out this side. There's some reconfiguring we can do. If you want something reconfigured, just explain what you want reconfigured and we can do that. So this should answer most of your questions. On our quote, we will have a specification on how much pipe. We'll include the cyclone and the elbow, but how much pipe here will be specified in the quote. This auger here will be specified the length in the quote. If you have it coming out of a flat bottom bin feeding this auger, we need to control all of that with our automation panel and should have all that information before ordering the system. So I hope that shows you what we got going on. And let me know if you have any questions.